got those midget auto blues. I see them coming round by twos. I've been watching every night. I'll tell you, brother, they're all right. I've got those midget auto blues.
Coming home from the Navy, I was able to finally go racing. Racing was started after World War ban, and I met a guy that brought a car up from Portland, and we were all starting to plan the season. So I paid $550 for a used midget and trailer and all the spare parts. And this got me to the first race. Was Easter Sunday in 1946. I thought I was a racer, but after driving a few warm-up laps, I couldn't go 2 laps without spinning out. I just couldn't catch on to it. I didn't have the feeling, and I was going to quit. And then my mentor, Claude Walling, walked me over to the entrance of the Playland Stadium, and we walked outside, and people were lined up clear to the street for tickets.
To the speedway I must roam out where you'll hear the motors drone around the track. On 44 he's on the fly.
When you're behind, it's a little rough. The old days, we didn't have full-face helmets and bare arms with T-shirts, so you noticed every bit, and no windshield.
At the rough south bend comes 7-6. His tire blows, he's in a fix. He hits the rail, begins to roll, you'll hear him cry.
When I started on the B main, I was on the front row, and I got the green flag, and man, this was fun. I'm out in the fresh air, and I'm leading this thing, and I'm going to win it. I was counting my first place money, I thought, when they stopped the race because of a problem back there. They threw a yellow, they slowed the race, so we ran under caution for a couple of laps.
Well, the green is just like a signal on an intersection. That means go, and then the yellow flag means caution, and then of course the red flag means stop.
This is how inexperienced I was. They restarted with the green flag. I looked at it and drew a blank. I had no idea in the middle of a race what the green flag was for. See, I was so keyed up. I was thinking about that first place money when Red Pugh, one of the Oregon drivers, waited patiently, and finally he got tired and went by me. And afterward, I finished second in a race I should have won.
In 1947, I had been ill and been flat on my back for 5 months. And when I saved up enough hours that I could be out of bed, Friday night we went out and looked over the fence. And it didn't take long, and I was in love with racing, and I wanted to go inside and see the whole track, and I wanted to see all the races. And so at age 14, I became a devotee of automobile racing.
Occasionally we raced in Canada, and one night in particular I remember I didn't have a ride with my regular car owner, so I was up there with another car out of Tacoma, and beautiful looking blue and yellow car, and at those days I was anxious for any car. I'd jump in, I wouldn't look at them for mechanical failures or anything. I'd just jump in them and drive them.
It became clear to me that at 6'3", I was not going to fit into a midget anytime soon. So I started watching the roadsters, which were obviously more compatible with my size. And later that year, actually got to be on a pit crew for a roadster. I started working on cars. The first car I worked on, I was given the responsibility of taking care of the water pump, which was an external water pump. That's where you start, and then you start learning more about the cars. And each year you take on a little bit more responsibility of what you can do, and just learn more about cars in general. And after, well, I think it was 3 years, I was helping build cars from scratch. And after a couple more years of experience on that, I built one for myself and drove it. And each car was a little better than the previous one. The car I'm building now is got a better finish on it than anything I had done before, but it's also taken me about 4 times as long.
I got into the lead in the B main, and this thing is healthy. This is a fast Ford. I'm forgetting about the water pump, but I'm passing cars. I'm leading, and steering wheel came off right in the middle of the straightaway. Well, I'd never driven a car with 4-wheel brakes and a foot brake. I used them both. I used them all the way into the turn, and I had nothing to hold on to. The steering wheel was unhooked. The car jumped up on a little bull rail, about a couple feet, 1.5 feet high, I guess. It was a small rail. Jumped right up there, rode through the turn on the top of the rail, and the front wheels went over left the rail, and I thought, I'm going down into this canyon, and they landed on the roof of the women's restroom. Well, there it stopped. The front wheel's on the restroom, the rear wheels are on the rail, and I'm sitting in the car, and the restroom wasn't used the rest of the night, I don't think. From then on, I started inspecting cars before I jumped in them. I learned later the parts were gone, but he had a piece of a file stuck in where it should have had a machine key. He had a strip net and no cotter key, and the whole works fell off and landed in the belly pan or wherever, and a trail of junk is what it was. So it taught me to look them over now. In fact, I'm on the tech committee for Golden Wheels. I know what falls off of these cars. I look for those.
I've got those midget auto blues. I see them coming round by twos. I've been watching every night. I'll tell you, brother, they're all right. I've got those midget auto blues.
Well, I'm part of Golden Wheels fraternity, and we are vintage racers, and we have a story to tell. We talk about racing history, and we show racing history.
Dad decided he'd get interested in the vintage program, and so I decided it was my turn to maybe pay him back a little and help him.
I've got those midget auto blues. I see them coming round by twos. I've been watching every night. I tell you, brother, they're all right. I've got those midget auto blues.
I'm going to drive one soon. My son and I own an Offenhauser vintage Curtis, and we're going to road test it pretty soon. Do we want to pull it out yet?
Huh?
You want to take it out?
Yeah, good stuff to do. You be the driver.
Well, I'll just, yeah.
To the speedway I must go out where you'll hear the motors drone. Round the track comes 44, he's on the fly. At the rough south bend comes 7-6, his tire blows, he's in a fix. He hits the rail, begins to roll, you'll hear him cry. I've got those midget auto blues.
Well, it's been good. It's the usual thrash, no matter if it's got their label race car on it. It's hard work, and there's no end to it. But we lit it off last week, and looks like he'll be able to. He's had some health issues last year or so, but he's back in good shape, and we're ready to go. First race is next, or exhibition is next week in Idaho.
I'm picking back up probably close to where I was, but not. There are some fine points that I'm going to have to relearn, you know, because it's been 54 years since I sat in a midget, and they're no toys, but they also, you do after a few years learn that certain things you can do, and I'm trying to readjust as I left off in 1956.